What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. Okay, so this is some breaking news I wanted to bring to you guys. And as I stated, I'm going to start doing live streams more often, especially when there's breaking news. And right now, it looks like the U.S. They have retaliated against these Iran-backed militia groups. And so we'll wait a few minutes for some people to come in, and then we'll get started. Actually, have some footage to show you guys, and then I want to show you uh, General. I believe it's a general. Let's just say he's a ex-CIA director, former CIA director, Brennan. So we'll listen to what he has to say as well. But yeah, this we knew this was going to happen, but we just didn't know when. So now we have more information. And so I'm just waiting for my screen to refresh so I can see. As you guys come in the room, just let me know you're here by saying hello and let me know where you guys are watching me from. And then we'll go from there. Yeah, I don't know why my computer's always slow when it comes to showing me what's going on in the background. So right now it's not showing me anything. And then all of a sudden it'll jump and it'll show me everything. So yeah, we'll get started momentarily. But like I said, just let me know you're here just by saying hello and let me know where you guys are watching me from. And we'll get started shortly. But yeah, this from what I'm hearing, this is going to go on for a while. They're calling this a campaign. They're not calling this just a strike. So we're going to be looking at this. Probably no one really knows, but at least for the next several days, we're going to be seeing these different strikes on targets. Right now, it's been 85 targets that have been struck in Iran. No, not Iran. They haven't struck in Iran yet, but Iraq, Iraq and Syria, I believe, are the two places. And we're going to see more. And we don't know if it will get to the point where we will see some strikes in Iran. But I think both the U.S. and Iran we don't want to get into a conflict with them. They don't want to be in a conflict with us. But you have these Iran-backed militias that are out there that are being supplied by, their weapons and everything are being supplied by Iran, and so that's why you do hear some lawmakers saying we should be going directly into Iran. I don't think that's a wise decision right now, but we definitely will take care of the situation as far as these militia groups, target them, and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, so you guys are in the chat now. Finally, I'm finally able to see what's going on in my chat. So let me go ahead and give some shout outs while we're waiting for a few more people to come in. So Mr. Wolf, hello, thank you from Alaska. And we have John Baker from, where is that? That I don't know what where that is. Let's see. We have Pat coming from Indiana, Michael coming from Mississippi, somewhere in Mississippi, it looks like. And Jay-Z coming from Virginia. Thank you all for stopping by. Pat coming from Oklahoma, James coming from Shelby, North Carolina, and Lainey coming from New York, Lynn coming from Oklahoma, and Carolyn coming from Florida, Adrian from Tampa Bay, Florida, Joel from Minnesota, John from Wisconsin. All right, so we got people all over. I haven't seen California yet. Pat says hello. Hello, Pat. And Patty coming from, is that Hawaii? Wow. Beautiful Hawaii. John coming from iPhone. Coming from my phone. Okay. Sharon coming from Ohio. All right. Thank you guys all for stopping by. And the first thing I'm going to do, I want to show you guys this interview. And this was just done within the last hour. And then we'll we'll get into, let me show you that real quick. Here we go. Actually, let me back that up a bit. All right.
Yes, judging by what they've been indicating in advance. And then keep in mind, too, at some point.
All right, that's not what I wanted to show you. Give me 1 second. All right, so it's gonna be the former CIA director Brennan talking. As soon as we can get this going here.
Retired four-star general and MSNBC military analyst Barry McCaffrey. General McCaffrey, what are you looking for as this story develops?
Well, I think since the strike on Tower 22 was a pretty significant U.S. casualty, three killed in action, more than 50 now reporting wounded in action. U.S. intelligence has been blanketing the region, trying to see where the threats are. They are moving. They're all trying to disguise themselves. They've turned off all their radios. The Houthis have turned off their radars in particular. But we've been watching them moving. So I won't think that we have lost much in terms of delaying multiple days. If anything, we've added to it because they get them up and running. As Dan very accurately reported, this is going to be a multi-week probably response, hopefully decentralized. It will involve both U.S. Navy and Air Force power. There may well be classified aspects to it. In other words, Delta Force going into Syria or other places and snatching some of these leaders. Never mind cyber warfare and economic action. So, as Secretary Austin stated, we got to degrade capabilities and not just do a one-off campaign.
To your point about what Defense Secretary Austin said yesterday, he said specifically, it's time to take away even more capability than we've taken in the past. Give us a sense of scope. What might that look like?
Well, it's the toughest target is still the Houthis, the Red Sea, enormous economic consequences. It's affecting world trade. It's driving up prices. The Egyptians remain mute with their Suez Canal losing revenue. So what you do about the Houthis is hard to program. You know, they got about a third of the country. It's a Shia militia organization, very closely allied with Iran. It's got some fairly significant weapons, both ballistic and drone missiles, and it definitely can strike in this very constrained waterway, international shipping. That one's a real challenge. I think the terrorist organizations in both Syria and Iraq, it'll have to be over time. We'll just have to watch for them. Every time they move, they'll get struck. But even there, we have an unusual problem. Iraq vehemently opposes any U.S. military action inside Iraq. We're there, 2,500 troops, with part of an international coalition, counter ISIS in nature, at the request of the Iraqi government. So, you know, Secretary Blinken, who's made every effort to try and keep this conflict from escalating, is now facing renewed challenges. The good news, we're not going into Iran with strikes yet.
General McCaffrey, can you give us a sense of how you define success with a mission like this?
Well, that's the $64 million question for sure. I think that to some extent, you simply have to respond. I've been really distraught listening to people say, well, now they've killed some U.S. soldiers, now we got to act. We've had 160 some odd strikes on U.S. forces. You simply cannot take away the inherent right of self-defense and immediate action and decentralized responses if you're going to keep military forces deployed in such a dangerous environment. So hopefully those days are behind us, and we'll now have a more active protection of the forces themselves. But the important question you raise is, what is the strategic purpose for these deployments? And we're going to have to rethink that, because bombing militia units and Shia militia units in Iraq is not a long-term solution to anything.
Well, give us a sense of what those conversations look like when you're talking about strategic purpose. That is something that is constantly evaluated and reevaluated. You have been in the rooms where those conversations happen. Give us a sense. How frequently are they happening? How many times will they happen in the next few days? What are the data points they will be looking for?
Well, that National Security Council meets at various levels of officialdom, you know, from the three-star Pentagon level, is whole of government, State Department, Treasury, Department of Homeland Security, all of them are involved. This is going on day and night, 7 days a week, trying to manage really the top current defense challenge to the United States. By the time an issue gets to the NSC, there are no good options. Everything you're considering has unpalatable implications. What happens after we take this action? That's why I think wisely they're publicly signaling we're not going to go after Iran yet. Iran is the centerpiece orchestrating, funding, training, equipping, and to some extent directing what is a regional war against U.S. and Israeli interests, and part of the domination of the Sunni Muslim population. So it's not going to go away with this current air campaign. We're in a long-term, complex, dangerous situation that we have to face up to.
General McCaffrey, there is, of course, always in these situations a question of proportionality. How does the Biden administration decide what is a proportional response? How do they make that decision, that determination?
Well, I hope they're deciding on a disproportional response. I mean, that's a problem. If you get one lousy drone, maybe a 300-kilogram warhead on it that slams into a sleeping area and causes 50 some odd U.S. casualties, that drone probably cost $20,000 to manufacture. The people who fired it may have been a dozen people, none of them with graduate degrees from the Army War College. So you really have to go after decision makers. You have to have a whole of government responses. You know, it's got to be cyber warfare, classified covert action, economic constraints, as well as military power. We got to up the game. You know, I hope we're going to see U.S. Air Force heavy bombers going after fixed installations, not a targeted 500-pound JDAM, but 100 munitions striking a target to try and stun these people and have them change their ways.
Going to go back to NBC's Dan DeLuce. Dan.
Okay, so just wanted to show you a little. That was actually General McCaffrey. I can't say that name. I said it was former CIA director Brennan, but it wasn't. So I want to show you. I actually have some footage, and this is going around on Twitter. Okay, so when it comes to Twitter, I can't confirm that this is actually footage. This could be footage of another strike somewhere else. But I do want to show you what we do have now. Pull this up here. And all right, there we go there. Okay. So this is some of the footage that's going around on Twitter right now. Let's see if we have some audio. So no audio for this footage, but this is what they're showing right now. So, and this, I believe, is in Syria. So pretty much the same. And you have a picture here, another photo here. And like I said, I can't confirm that this is actually true. Sometimes on Twitter, you'll have people just get out there and start posting things that it's old footage. So we'll have to confirm. I can't confirm it right now, so I'm just showing you the video. But I just want to make that clear because I don't want to be putting out false information. So I do want to give you that disclaimer. And so here, U.S. currently striking multiple Iranian proxy targets in Syria and Iraq, CNN reports. And the 3 soldiers that were killed in action, they were brought home today. So that's what this footage is here. Really sad. Okay, you guys lost the footage. I'm talking and you guys aren't even seeing what I'm seeing. Go back here. Let me know in the chat how much you saw or didn't see because I'm over here talking and not looking at the screen. Let me know if you guys saw the footage that I was showing earlier. My computer right now is acting a little funny, but this is in Syria. Some of the damage that's being done from the airstrikes. Here's some more here. If you guys already saw this, just let me know. Then I'll just move past it. But my screen went out. I don't know why. And some photos as well. Photo there. Photo there. And like I said, the disclaimer is this is on Twitter. And if you know anything about Twitter, sometimes the good information is very good. Sometimes the information is not good. So you kind of have to run with it. You have people on Twitter saying things like this. Every politician and bureaucrat calling for more war should be handed a rifle and sent to the front lines. And so, yeah, you're going to have people on both sides. When it comes to the war, like, that's the last thing that we want to get involved with right now because we've seen this before, right? We've followed this in Iraq, in Afghanistan, where we start a conflict and then we end up getting stuck there for years and years. I think we were in Afghanistan for like 20 years. So do we really want to be involved in a war with Iran for years to come? You know, I don't think you guys saw this because this is the service members who passed away. President Biden was there. But yeah, do we really want to be in a situation where we're looking at another drawn out war, or even, you know, a war, just say in the Middle East as a general? So maybe not just Iran, or maybe not Iran, just we're out in the region and we're just continuing to fight off these militant groups. Do we want to do this for the next 15, 20 years and see more loss of service members? And so you do have politicians right now that are calling for war, and they want all out war. They want us to go right into Iran right now. Which if we went into Iran, that would result in us going to war. And so that's something that I think hopefully we can handle the situation without having to go into a full-on war. But that is always a possibility. And then when it comes to just in that region, what's going on in the region, Israel is going to have a war on 2 fronts now. I mean, it obviously this whole situation is widening, and we have these militia groups that are attacking Israel, attacking the U.S., and that's only going to continue. So something needs to be done, definitely, but how far are we going to go? So that's what we're going to have to watch for the next for at least the next few weeks, we're going to be watching these different airstrikes. I don't think the U.S. is just doing this one-off for today. I would anticipate they're going to continue with the strikes until the U.S. we see that we've stopped the threat. So that could be a long thought out conflict. I want to look at it like that. What do you guys think, though? Let me know in the chat. We'll do some Q&A right now. Rose is coming from Florida. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you for being here, Rose. Cynthia is watching from Biloxi, Mississippi. Actually had my roommate in college was from Biloxi. Let's see. Christopher is watching from Alaska. A few people watching me from Alaska. Cool. Let's see. All right. Gladys is watching from Nebraska. All right. And let's see. Lindsay. If I can start pulling these. All right. It says, or she says, Elise says it's going to be like everything will be chaotic, like the pandemic. We may even go on lockdown. No, I don't see that as being, I don't see us going on lockdown or anything like that. But things will be chaotic, definitely in the Middle East. I think it's going to be a situation like we've seen before. We've gone through this before with Afghanistan and Iraq, where we get pulled into a situation where now we're going to have to be in that region in the Middle East for a very long time. We're going to have to commit troops in that area, and just like when we were fighting ISIS, the same thing. We're going to have troops out there, and it can be prolonged. Okay. Allie's watching from Oklahoma. Thank you for watching. Mr. Fareed is watching from California. Thanks for watching. Michael's watching from Cincinnati. Thank you for watching. All right, you guys have questions? We can talk a little bit about what's actually going on. Yeah, this is interesting comment here from William. It says, what would that fix? We would be spreading ourselves too thin with us backing Ukraine and all, then start something in the East, in the Middle East with Iraq, or I'm sorry, in the East with Iran. That sounds like an opportunity for someone else like China. So, and there's always that fear. If we are in a drawn out conflict in another, in a region, and then we're trying to help out Israel, help out Ukraine, yeah, we're getting stretched really thin, and that could result in something or making us weaker. So I don't want to say weaker, but we have our hands in too many pots. So yeah, that is definitely a concern. All right. You guys have any other questions? I just wanted to come on real quick and do just an update on this the latest airstrike that we're seeing now. And from what I was hearing, the talk is that this will continue for several weeks, what they're saying. So what is Fox News talking about? Audio.
Isn't a secret that it was happening, Martha, and we knew it was going.
I understand that we have special report anchor Brett Baer also with us, used to cover the Pentagon, traveled extensively in this area as part of that coverage. Brett, your reaction to this retaliation that we've been told by the president has been coming for days and days?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a secret that it was happening, Martha, and we knew it was going to come. We don't know the extent of these particular attacks as of yet. Inside Syria, these are in response directly to the killing of the 3 U.S. soldiers, but also, as you see on that map, more than 165, now almost 165, 170 attacks on U.S. troops in the region. I expect, and just having talked to a couple of people on the phone, that this is going to be sustained, that this is not going to be a one and done operation. And it may include multiple targets inside Syria and in Iraq, specifically Iranian proxies. And make no mistake about it, I interviewed the Prime Minister of Qatar the other day and asked him specifically about Iran and the funding of these groups. He diverted and kind of said, we let Iran do their thing. We're trying to get peace. But the bottom line is everybody in the Middle East knows that the hundreds of millions of dollars that Iran pumps to these proxy groups go directly to the arming of not only these drones, but the missiles. So expect this to be a sustained attack is what I'm being told. And we'll see what the targets are in coming minutes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Iran is flush with cash that they didn't have in the prior administration. They got $6 billion in this hostage deal, at least freed up. I know there's been a lot of debate about whether or not they have their hands on that money, Brett, but in the few seconds that we have left.
Yeah, they don't have their hands on that money. I see that, and this is what I don't like when you have reporters that will put that out there like that. $6 billion. They don't have access to that money right now. It's frozen. They actually, we want to say, refroze it. So they don't have access to it. And if and when they get access to it, they can only use it for certain things. Now, understand this as well. I want to get, and I just have to, when I hear certain things, I have to call it out because I don't like when people put out misinformation like that. Because even though, like, at the very end, she said, well, yeah, I don't know, or we don't know if they have access to that money. They know. They should know. And if you don't know, then you shouldn't be putting that out there, because then it just, people look at that and say, oh God, they had $6 billion. Well, the truth is the money is frozen right now. So Iran doesn't have access to it. That being one. And then the two is, there's some confusion on how they got the money. The money didn't come from the U.S. We didn't give them $6 billion. We were able to get the money frozen, and then we released it and then froze it again. It's Iranian money. It's not our money. We didn't hand over money to them. So just little things like that really bother me when I'm listening to reporters, because they have a responsibility to give you guys the correct information and not put out these little teasers where you're kind of saying, well, yeah, now they have so much money and that's the reason why they're doing what they're doing. If that $6 billion hasn't been spent yet, then obviously they weren't using that money for these to go to these different militia. So anyway, let's see. I'm looking at the comments. Sometimes I get really irritated with mainstream media because they will not give you, they're all playing an angle. Okay. So we all know kind of how the different mainstream media is. Fox might target Republicans and people on the right. MSNBC's targeting liberals and people on the left. CNN is pretty much targeting people on the left. So we know how the game is played, and they do that because that's how they get the views, right? You have to pick a side. You can't just try to put out news for everyone, because then you don't really get the views, unfortunately. I think most of the views are coming from the extreme ends. And then you have like the newspapers. I think the newspapers do a better job of being nonpartisan, like Reuters and Associated Press. I think they do a good job. PBS, I think, does a good job. But a lot of the other media that's out there, they're playing left or right. Let's see. Where's that airstrike in the Middle East? So Ali's asking that question. So from what I'm gathering right now, it's in Iraq and Syria, and the thought is that there's going to be more strikes, and maybe in Yemen. We don't know where else it will go. Let's see. Okay. Any other questions, guys, or any other comments that you want to make? I just wanted to come on quickly. I just got home and saw this. I'm like, oh, let me do a live stream. Now I will be doing more live streams like this, or we'll just come on and we'll just talk a little bit. I actually enjoy this kind of breaking news stuff where we can just talk about things, and then later on I'll put out a video. Like I can do more research and put out a video. I've shied away from doing like the breaking news live streams because I don't really have enough information, or I feel like I don't have enough information. But it's good just to get out and kind of see what you guys are thinking about these different situations. So let's see. Anything else you guys have to say? So as far as money, let me see here. This is a question here. Should we spend or save money right now? I see a lot of essential items on sale right now. I mean, I don't, if you're referring to the current situation that we're in the Middle East, I don't think that's really going to impact too much. Maybe oil, we could see spikes in prices like that, but other than that, I think prices will hopefully continue to go down. Um, and you're saying that you're seeing a lot of sales. That's interesting because I look at groceries right now, and they're still up there. They're still expensive, and we get the CPI score, the inflation report every month, and it continues to go down and down. So it's saying that inflation's going down and down, but you go to the grocery store and things are still very expensive. So I'm still waiting for for groceries to go down. So hopefully we'll see that in the coming months. But yeah, I don't think there's a need right now to really change your spending habits. Let's see. Coin Hunter says CNN politics says strike today on January 12th. Started legit typo. I don't know what you're saying here. What did I miss? Okay, not sure what you're saying there, Coin. It strikes here on January 12th. So maybe on January 12th they put out something. This isn't the first time that we've shown airstrikes. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to. Yeah, we've had airstrikes in the past, but I think one of the and this is one of the criticisms that we're hearing a lot from some of the experts that are talking, military experts that are talking about the fact that maybe we should have really struck hard much sooner. We shouldn't have waited until service members died and to really ramp up our airstrikes, because we had some drone strikes and stuff in the past, but it wasn't anything that was really aggressive, and so we were responding to some of the drone strikes that we were seeing from these Iran-backed militias, but we weren't really striking hard until after this latest situation here. So the argument is maybe we should have struck a lot harder sooner, and then they would have gotten the message and stopped. Okay, it says Google CNN politics strikes on Yemen, then got there wrong. Coin, I have no idea what you're saying. Friday, 2024, January 12th today. I'm lost, buddy. I don't know where you're going with that comment. All right, guys. Any other questions? We'll wait a few minutes and then we'll. So, and Allie's asking, who are they trying to bomb, or I guess who are we trying to bomb in Iraq? So you have these militia groups, and they are what they were doing is they were targeting some of these commercial ships that are going through the Red Sea, and so the U.S. was responding, but like I said, some of these airstrikes were actually on U.S. service members, and so now they're attacking. They haven't been specific on what exact groups that they're targeting right now, but we don't have all that information. I'm sure more of that will come out in the very near future. And I know there was a question earlier about, will the cost of things go up, or should you be buying things now and kind of preparing for future? There is, because we have commercial ships that are in that region out there in the Red Sea, that could disrupt supply chain. So that could rise the price of different products. Now, I don't know what products those would be, but if you do have commercial ships going in and out, they're bringing product. And so some of those products, the price can go up if we see a widening conflict in the Middle East. So that is something to kind of look out for. All right. So I am going to go ahead and take off. And I appreciate you guys all for being here. I will come back if there's some more news later today. I want to sit down and do some research and actually put out a real good video on just what we've seen so far. But I wanted to do a live stream first to see what you guys are talking about as well. So thank you guys all for being here. Remember, I do live streams every Thursday, talk about headline news, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So next week, we'll be doing another live stream. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.